I'm back out, this time at my super secret location, Rendlesham Forest, for a camp out tonight. It's going to be a cold one. It's going to be rainy as well. Check out the van, how clean it is. I did it after the fallout, all the flack I got for how dirty it was last time, which I didn't get any flack. Nobody said anything, but I know what you were thinking. Anyway, better get going. I'm trying to get in a decent sized walk today, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So, there's a couple of reasons for this video. Actually, three. One, I just like getting out, especially on days like this. Two, it's going to rain and it's going to be cold. I thought it'd be a great test for my new tent, that Nortent Vern 1 PC. If you saw the earlier video I did with it, it was, I don't know, suffered from a lot of condensation, but I didn't give it a fair trial, I don't think so. I'm going to try again today. This is a different kind of test. I'm not going to be near water, and we'll see. I really hope it works out. I've got a feeling it will. I'll show you that properly later. The other reason, I'm aware that it seems like I've got a lot of gear, and a lot of nice gear, and I have. And I've kind of accumulated that over the years. Didn't just buy it all in one go. Maybe with the bike stuff I did, but not with the hiking gear. The first time I ever did this, I had a terrible sort of cot bed thing. I had no quilt. I had no sleeping pad. Just this cheap sleeping bag. And I froze to death, almost. So, you know, I've learned the hard way, and over the years I've accumulated better and better stuff. Until now I've got mostly amazing stuff, so I'm very lucky in that regard. But I tried to make all of this stuff look attainable for anyone. You know, I'm no expert, everybody knows that, even if you gotta watch the videos. But I kind of go down the route that if I can do this stuff, anyone can. But I didn't want people to think you have to spend a fortune and get the best gear all the time. So even though I have incredible gear, and I really have, I didn't want people to think that you have to have this kind of gear in order to get out. Conversely, I've watched a ton of videos with YouTubers where they have this kind of attitude of just use what you've got and get out there, which frankly is an utter load of bollocks. You can just get out with what you've got, but you're going to have a miserable time, and it's not going to work out. And I mean, in some instances it could get you into a lot of trouble. Perhaps not in the UK, but you know, if you had to go into the Smoky Mountains in the middle of winter with the gear that I took on my first trip, you'd die of hypothermia. So I don't go with that either. I think you need to have a base level set of gear. You don't have to spend a fortune. So this is a loose part one of 2 videos. This time I'm using good gear. I'm not even going to say good, I'm going to say expensive gear. It doesn't necessarily equate to good. And then in the next week or so, hopefully the next video, I'll go out with some more reasonably priced stuff that I think is good enough. So that's the plan. I better do about 10 miles this time though, to get a good sense of how the good stuff, I'll stop doing that, the expensive stuff, performs. So we best get moving. Try and find somewhere and stop for a coffee in a minute. Probably about 4 or 5 miles in. Starting to warm up. I might be able to get a fire going tonight. I hope so. It's all very wet, but you never know. I'll give it a try anyway. It's going to be a long old night otherwise. It's funny how fire can keep you occupied. Good spot for coffee. Right, another 5 or 6 miles to go. Got plenty of time. Gets dark about 4 o'clock and it's about 10 to 2, so that's not too bad. Just thinking about doing the same sort of thing as this, you know, comparing the cheaper gear and the expensive gear with the bike. I think that one would be really interesting because there's a lot more sort of thought that would need to go into that. I think it'd be really interesting to see how, I don't want to say cheap, but how little you need to spend to get a good setup. I think that could be a good plan. That'll probably be in the spring though. It'll take a lot of thought. Looks like a good spot. Glad to get that off. Even though this is the expensive gear, that tent, 3.5 kilos. That is a heavy tent, you can feel it. Should be a good test for it. I hope it does rain. Right, I'm gonna get the tarp set up first. I think I'm just gonna do a simple triangle sort of lean-to. That works. Make a couple of pegs. This will do. This is my nice knife, Casstrom. That'll do. My Helinox Chair Zero. I never really use this. I was going to take it on the GDMBR, but never did. There we go. And this thing stops it sinking into the ground. Just use that pole to lift the back. Gives you a lot more room inside. So I think that's done. I'll get the tent now, set that up. Got a perfectly good spot right in front of me. So I don't know if I said earlier today, this is a poly cotton tent, which is why it weighs 3.5 kilos. Single wall, 4 season, and being poly cotton is meant to deal with condensation really well, which is why I bought it. But when you pitch it by the sea, it doesn't deal with condensation very well. I don't know if anything could. So I'm assuming I expected too much of it. And I'm assuming it's going to do a good job this time. Right. Tent is pitched. Took 8 times longer than it should have. But it's pitched. Right, we're in. Start getting the gear in. On my Thermarest Neoair X Therm this time, just because it's winter and it's cold. My Exped air pillow, my buff, which I use as a pillowcase. There you go. This is my Enlightened Equipment 20-degree quilt. Absolutely love this thing. Bottom, you can zip the bottom to make a proper foot box when it's cold. And that's it really. I'll show you, you've got so much room in here for a one-man tent anyway. And then you've got all this room at the back for a pack. I really want this tent to work. I think we're going to find out tonight. I'll make sure the vents are open. And the door, the inner door, has a mesh and a solid bit to it. So I might just have the mesh. I don't know. I'm tempted to just make it difficult again. Just seal it up. I mean, it's a 4-season tent, which means it's designed to be sealed up. I'm expecting condensation because it's impossible not to. But what I want is I want it to be less than with my Z-Pax duplex, because I'm not exaggerating, that's 1/6 the weight. So if this is as bad with condensation as that, then it's entirely pointless. We will find out. I'm going to blow this thing up. Incidentally, I'm going to use this, the light as well, because it's a pump. So let's get that done. Wow, it's got dark quick. It's good though, camp's all set up. Just need to do a bit of tidying up and then make the decision about getting fire or not. Making fire or not. I think I'm leaning towards or not. Everything's soaked. We'll see. So I'm sat under the tarp in my chair. Everything's set up. So I'd take 5 minutes, relax a little bit. It's starting to get cold. I'm going to put on some different layers in a minute. May as well talk about clothing a little bit. My puffy jacket. This is a Haglofs LIM, I think it's called. Super lightweight. And again, pretty expensive. I guess you're paying for... Well, I know you're paying for the fill power of the down. It's gonna rain, I know. So I got this Arcteryx raincoat. I can't remember what it was. It's nice, you know. You don't need it, but it's nice to have. And I mean, I have to confess, I like... Some things make me happy. Good stuff, good quality stuff does. And that's why I do it. I like this stuff. These coats, this is Fjallraven. I wear their trousers as well. I can't tell you how much punishment they get. The trousers in particular. I have 2 pairs and I kind of cycle between the 2 and wear them 90% of the time. And I'll get 5 years easy, solid use out of a pair of these trousers. And they're expensive, but I think in the long run they're cheaper. Classic case of buy once, cry once. There's a balance. We'll see how it works out when I do the cheaper bit. The other thing I think with these trousers, I was just thinking, sometimes, you know, the stitching, the seams come loose. And I think with a cheap pair, you'd throw them away. It's just the way we are as a culture. But I fix these. If the seams break, I fix them. So you're more inclined to when they were expensive. Someone told me once with sunglasses, I must have had 50 pairs of sunglasses in my life. He said, buy a pair of Ray-Bans, you'll look after them. And I did, and I've had them for 8-9 years. I still have them. Thought I'd give it a try, you never know. Even just a little fire. I managed to get the fire going and then it started raining. It wasn't supposed to rain till later, but that's fine. I'm under the tarp. I think I'll just use the stove to cook. I've got a biryani. I'll prepare a little bit of veg. Got some beans, onion. I've got a potato, which you should parboil, but I'm just going to cut tiny little slithers. Can't believe that fire's still going. I might get some coals. I might be able to cook. The rain's just started coming down harder. Right, there we go. Some oil in there. Yeah, do it on the stove. So I got this one pan creation thing. So I've got to put this in now and add a little bit of water. Not that much. And then I've got some pre-cooked chicken just to slice into it at the end and warm through. Who knows what this is going to be like. I'm not too fussy. I think that's done. Okay, well here we go. It looks like a biryani. Wow. That's so much nicer than I thought it would be. That's really good. Wow, happy with that. Rain's really coming down and I'm getting cold, so I'm going to put this on. In fact, I'm going to put every layer I've got on, and then I think I'm just going to get into the tent. It's freezing. I might have a beer, I've got one, just the one, and sit here and, well, for as long as I can before I start getting freezing. But if nothing else happens tonight, I'll see you in the morning. I don't imagine it will. Morning. It's not too wet in here. It's strange, there's like a film, so it's damp, but there's no drips, and my quilt is dry, and these trousers are like a poly cotton and they're dry, so that's got to be a success. And it didn't leak obviously in the rain, and it rained for most of the night. I need coffee. I've been in this tent for, I think it's about 7:30 now. Over 12 hours. So sealed in for over 12 hours. And the tent has succeeded. I'm really glad. I kind of had buyer's remorse, but it's proved itself. I wish I had someone to make me coffee. I got pancakes. I'm not good in the mornings. Wow. Yeah, that's strong. I can live with it though. I like it strong. Oh, wow. Cowboy coffee is the best coffee. I'm sure of it. So I slept well. I had a good night. I was nice and warm in there. The tent definitely holds in the heat. That Thermarest Neoair Therm pad is really good. I've never had a cold night on that. And I think that's the most important part of your bed when you're camping, is the pad underneath. So yeah, all worked and the tent was fine. I think I'm surprised. I didn't think it was gonna do that well. Like I say, there's a film on the inside of it, which is, so it feels damp, but it's not dripping or anything. And everything inside, more importantly, was dry, including my clothes. And you know, that's usually a way to notice whether it's been bad for condensation in the night. Your clothes are all wet and horrible. The only downside, I think, is that pad is too narrow. My newer pad for sort of spring, summer is wider. And I'd love to get a wide winter pad, that Therm in wide, but they're so expensive. I mean, it's pathetic, really. You're probably looking over 200 quid for that now. I don't know how they get away with charging too. Well, they get away with it because fools like me buy the stuff. Anyhow, I'm going to try and cook pancakes now on a titanium pan that doesn't have a non-stick coating. So I'm expecting a lot of fallout. It's not going to go well. Do I sound like I'm not very positive this morning? Because that's not the case. I just know that pancakes on anything that isn't non-stick is never really going to work. I'm going to be positive. Take two. It's definitely going to work. It's going to be the best pancakes of all time. I'm quite happy sat here, to be honest. Can't think of a better place to be on a workday morning, sat in the woods drinking coffee and being negative about pancakes. I don't know. I mean, it's cooking, but it's not a pancake, is it? Would you eat that? I'm not going to. I think I'm going to call it. I'm going to go without breakfast. I'm going to stop at Tim Hortons on the way home. Get something there. Relive my days in Canada. I'm going to drink coffee. At least that worked. And then I'm going to pack up. I remember when I said I'd bought that titanium frying pan, one of you, a subscriber, told me that it conducts heat too well for things, for frying, which is all you'd ever use it for, really. So I don't think titanium frying pans make any sense at all. Still got to figure these things out for yourself, haven't you? But whoever you were, yeah, you were right. And you have permission to troll me in the comments. Mercilessly. Only for this video. Right. Let's get packed up. I'm sure you can't see over there, but there's like a herd of deer, and one of them is almost white. I don't know if you get albino deer. Anyway, I'm still packing up. I got distracted. I'm not rushing this morning. I always tend to rush in the mornings. Like as if, thinking about it, my whole life I live as though I have a lot to do. And at points in my life I have, and maybe that's the reason. But currently, I don't have a lot to do. But getting into that mindset of not looking at the clock and rushing is going to take some getting used to. How beautiful is this? This old tree, I'll show you. See, this is a planted forest and it's all, you know, pine or whatever it is. I think it's pine. But you get these self-seeded trees dotted amongst it. Particularly on the edges of the woodland as well, where you get, I call them real trees. I don't know what that is. I need to learn my trees. I'm gonna guess. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna guess. I'm gonna learn my trees. Not gonna guess. Beach. So there we go. We're all packed up. It's amazing what you can get into these packs. This one especially. 511. It's like a tactical sort of pack. I'm all done. Gonna go and get some breakfast. And then go home and dry everything off, which is hard work. Finding places to hang everything. But if that's all I gotta do today, it's a good day. So, hopefully next time you see me, I'll be out with Ross. And the plan will be to bring some reasonably priced gear to compare with the expensive gear. And we'll see how they do, how they compare. Should be interesting. See you again soon.